I'd like to say good evening. Excuse me. Make sure my phone is off right quick. Give me 1 second here. All right, turn this off. All right, I'd like to say good evening to everybody. Once again, I just wanted to discuss something this evening. Considering the climate that we're in, uh, we got some elections that are coming up soon, some big elections uh, for different states, different elections that are going to take place across the country, whether it be local or national. You got some big ones that are coming up. One reason I wanted to look at this today or this evening is because I know when I first came into the word, um, the elections is one of the things that we were not necessarily taught, but we're taught to make. We were made to feel bad if you took part in elections, and that's not the case. I think even up until a few years ago, I still hounded people about not voting because of voting, your vote don't matter and stuff like that in the national elections and things of that sort. So like with the Obama mania that went on in 2008 and 2016, um, you can take part in that. Just to answer your question in short, you can do it if you want to. But me personally, I I didn't really do it because for the simple fact the system it is nationally is set up and rigged in a way that it's not really gonna help out the Israelite. Like for instance, you see Obama came and everybody thought he was gonna be the savior for black people. And he came and what he ended up doing what he ended up doing was passing a lot of gay laws, helping out the Latinos and stuff like that, and didn't really do too much for the black people or the black race of people. And one thing about that, what we have to understand is that first off, as Israelites, we came here to serve out of punishment for disobeying God. So we really won't have too many things working in our favor in the first place. So I understood that, it really didn't move me one way or the other. I mean, I was happy that, we were, had somebody, I got it, had somebody who looked like me in the seat, but, behind the scenes, that really didn't matter. And I understood that because first off, based on his nationality, he was a Hamite in the first place. And the Hamites or the Africans, they don't like black people, even though they happen to be black. They don't like black people. So I knew that it wasn't gonna be too much of a change for us. Because when it's all said and done, our real king that's gonna come, or our real president for the Israelites, or for the black people, or whoever decides to serve our God, our real king that's going to come and set up his kingdom of government in this world will be Jesus himself. So in the meantime, just make sure you have that understanding if you do decide to do any voting. Locally, what I can say is that you have more of a uh, it's more hands on. You can actually see some things locally. You can reach out and contact your local people, your local government, people in positions in your government. You can reach out and touch them and contact them locally. So you'll be able to see more things, better as far as different things happening in your neighborhood, streets being paved, lights being put up, parks being built, sidewalks being put up. You know what I'm saying? Different programs to help out the poor. You see that type of stuff locally. You see that better because those are things that you have better access to. But even at the end of all that, the Lord is going to set His kingdom up on this earth. So let's go look at some. Let's go over to Psalms chapter 122 and verse 6. Because even if you don't take part in voting, uh, you still want to have some type of, peace in the land. Whether we be scattered, whether we be in Jerusalem, wherever we want some peace. And usually when the Lord is speaking to Jerusalem or referring to Jerusalem, like we're about to read, hey, it's the city, but there's a people or inhabitants that make up this city. So let's see here. Psalms 122 and verse 6. It says, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. They shall prosper that love thee. So now most people seem to tie that to the people that are in the land today that call themselves Jews. So that's why they feel like, so many people, uh, Christian folks, feel like they have to send their money to Jerusalem. Like one of the main culprits of the lie, being a Gentile, is John Hagee. He pushes that lie that those people in Israel are Jews, and those aren't the Israelites. Those are not God's people at all. When he was saying actually pray for the peace of Jerusalem, you know, um, he talking about his people. We're gonna pray for the peace of the land because that's gonna happen also. But he told me, listen, man, his people, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, are catching all type of hell. And for the people around the world, other nationalities, and Israel within itself, hey, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. They shall prosper that love thee. It say peace be within thy walls and prosperity within thy palaces, and that's what's going to end up happening. So, and right now, even if you look at the land, there's no peace going on in the land. That's all going to happen when the Lord come back and set His kingdom up on this earth, and that's when the real government will be set up. So, the voting that we do now, it can, locally, it can make some things better. If you feel like you want to take part in that, and you can see some results on a local level, it's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you voting, on a national level either. Because it's not a sin. Like we would say things like, you don't want to be in bed with them, you don't want to take part in their system and stuff like that. But you can't look at you can't. The Bible tell you, sin is transgression of the law, and that's not a law saying that you can't vote. All right, you're just giving your opinion. You feel like you picking the best person in that for that position who can actually handle the job. But he say, pray for the peace of Jerusalem, they shall prosper that love thee. And that's essentially what's going to happen. But while I'm over here in this captivity, look, I'm trying to seek the Lord for any type of peace that I can get. I don't want to be in a jacked up situation where I'm always bogged down and going through all type of hell. Even though we are as a nation, you still want to try to uh, seek the Lord for things to be made a little bit easier for us. Daniel chapter 2, let's pick this up at verse 19. And this is after Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. Um, couldn't nobody interpret his dream for him. So before he talked to Daniel, he put out a decree to kill all the wise men, the astrologers, the sorcerers, everybody that was, mainly on his payroll, who's supposed to have some type of powers to interpret or come to him soothsaying and I guess his magicians on his team. When he had this dream, Nebuchadnezzar, he couldn't. The Lord took the dream from him, and the interpretation was not given to him. But the dream was so heavy on him that he just knew that somebody better tell me what this dream was about. So hey, nobody could tell him the dream. So he put out a decree to kill all the wise men. And one of those wise men that happened to be in this captivity, which would be Daniel, Mishael, and Azariah, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, along with Daniel, or you may know them as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were slaves, so they got their names changed. But Daniel was considered one of the wise men, and when he got the decree, when he got word of the decree that the message there was a decree put out to kill a wise man, he told them, y'all just hold on a second, let me go pray about this, let me go talk to my God, and he'll let me know, and I'll come back and tell you. So we're gonna pick this up at verse 19 because now the Lord gonna give Daniel the dream. He's getting ready to come back and tell the king. So let's see what happens in verse 19. Daniel 2 and 19, it says, then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in the night vision. Then Daniel blessed the God of heaven. Daniel answered and said, blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. And he changed the times and the seasons. He removed kings and set up kings. He gave wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding. So just keep that in mind. The point I want to show you right here, even when you, whether you vote or whether you don't vote, hey, notice what happens here. It says in verse 21, he removed kings and set up kings. So God is at the forefront of it all. Whether you take part in voting, whether you don't take part in it, God is the one that set the kings up and take them down. That's why I say he removed kings and set up kings. And that's what you have to understand when it comes to voting. You know, like I say, you don't have to really pull out your hair if the person that you voted for didn't win, or whether they won. It don't matter. God is the one that set them up or take them down. And we're gonna see not only kings or presidents or pharaohs and stuff like that. We're gonna even see that, down to people that are above you and your in a close proximity or close your vicinity close to you, you'll be able to see that, hey, God even got those people in position for a reason. But just understand, God is at the helm of it all. He said he changed the time and the seasons. He removed kings and set up kings. He gave wisdom and unto the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding. So let's go look at another one. Let's go to Romans chapter 13. Because some people like to take the part about where it tells you, first off, it don't say slaves be obedient to your masters. It says servants be obedient, obey your masters. And hey, there are people in positions, in the world, whether it be a job, whether it be church, whether it be in the house, but mainly, say for instance, you go to a job. Listen, you working for him. You'll be considered his servant. But you're just a hired servant. But still, you have to be obedient. And it's not. Listen, if it causes you to go against God, you ain't doing that in the first place. That goes without question. But if you go into a job, you working and stuff like that, and you have to do, you have to do certain things. You agree to certain things for a paycheck. Well, you need to, you need to be there on time. That's one of the rules. You need to be there every day. That's one of the rules that you agree to. You can't be disrespectful to your boss. You know what I'm saying? Because we represent God, and that's what it means by servants obey your masters. People like to say what a Bible is, you know, written by a white man because it tells you that slaves are to obey their masters. First off, it says servants obey your masters, and all of us are servants in one way, shape, or form. Like even though I work for myself, you know what I'm saying, I'm still a servant, whether you know it or not. Because if I don't go work and cut these people yards, whatever I'm doing, if I'm cutting their yards, if I'm doing landscaping on it, whatever I'm doing on these, I don't get paid. So I can't go over there and just run through their yard and leave all type of, grass all over the place and trim the hedges and just leave a big mess, because I represent God. So, and at the same time, listen, if I do a bad job, I ain't getting paid. But more importantly is that, hey, and I'm only saying that because in some way, shape, or form, I am a servant. Now I personally don't have to obey them because they ain't, I just make an agreement to do something and I'm gonna do it right because, hey, I want my light to shine. But when you go into these jobs and you work for these people, my grandmother used to call him the boss man. The boss man say this, the boss man say that. We ain't too far removed from talking like slave. But that my grandma used to say back in the day when I was coming up, well, I gotta go to work for the boss man. And back in the day they would say massa, but they wasn't getting paid. They were slaves back then. But even when it time for the boss man, when that time came around, hey, they was getting paid, you see. But they just call them the boss man. And you are considered the servant. They call them employees. So you need to be obedient to them. And that's just like with, that's just on a small scale, something you can understand on a small scale, but all the way up to the presidents and the kings and different people that empower throughout the world, the Lord set them up. And God is the one that's behind it all. So you have to obey, whether you vote or not. That don't give you the right to be disrespectful or talk down against them because God is behind it all. So Romans chapter 13, verse 1, it says, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. So this is what Paul is saying, right? But it's still, this is for all of us, not just those in Rome, not just the slave. This is for everybody, because especially you dealing with the word, though, right? He said, "Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God." So there's no power that is set up without God being behind it. He said, "For there is no power but of God. The powers that be," talking about these higher powers, "are ordained of God." God is the one that put them in place. You see? So notice what it said in verse 2. He said, "Whosoever therefore resist the power, resist the ordinance of God. And they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation." So, and it's gonna take you down into people who actually God having these positions that carry the sword, letting you know they don't carry the sword in vain, and they really, they won't be in these positions to hurt you if you're doing good. They mainly there to keep everything in control. You understand? But the point is that hey, sometimes you may, like I say, on that local level, you put certain people in place. Your vote may, along with other people that vote, may actually put a certain person in power, and he may get in there and do good, or he may get in there and do bad. Look at some of the kings of Israel. Hey, you had some of them do good, and you had some of them that just run amok. And the Lord was mad at some of them kings. You see, so it ain't like you gonna always put the right one in there, even though back then, hey, look at Israel. Israel wanted a king. The way we end up with a king in the first place is because we wanted to be like everybody else. Like I guess you say they had they system, because like Solomon saying nothing new under the sun. So I guess I would suppose they had their systems, how they put their kings in power. But when it come down to Israel, hey, regardless of if the other nations had a system on how to put them in power or not, we know that they did have kings, and we had a king. Our king was Jesus. But we weren't satisfied with that. So what we wanted to do, we cried to Samuel, mainly saying to Samuel, listen, your son's out of control. They wicked, they pervert judgment and stuff like that. So make us a king. Like everybody else got a king, you see. And from the king, matter of fact, when the Lord told Samuel, he told Samuel to let them know, you know, how this king is gonna rule. We're gonna take your daughters, come work for me, gonna make them confectionaries and all this type of stuff. We're gonna take your land. And Israel was like, it don't matter, we just give us a king. We don't care. We just want to be like everybody else. But even from that, you go down and you see how some of the kings further down the line, hey, they ruled wrong. Look at Rehoboam, David's son. I mean, Solomon's son, after he died, when the kingdom split, they came to Rehoboam and they told him, listen, why don't you make it to the point where you rule this kingdom with ease? You don't, in other words, you don't make it so hard on the people. Make it light on them. And he was like, I'm gonna do worse than my father. I ain't doing nothing. So you had some kings, like I say, just went crazy, and got out of control. And just like sometimes you may vote and put people in power, hey, they may not work like you want them to work. But just understand, when it's all said and done, Romans 13:1, he said, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. For there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God. So if you have that understanding, when you go to vote and stuff like that, if you just want to take part in it, if you feel like, hey, my vote does matter in the national elections, there's nothing wrong with you going to do that. Just understand that God is going to come and set his kingdom up, and he's going to put in power whoever he want in power. Just like with the local elections, hey, the same exact thing. I just wanted to point this out because, we wake up and then sometimes we just tell people that you can't vote, you can't do none of that. And I was one of those that said that. I told people they couldn't vote and got them in, listen, taking part in this wicked system. Even though the system is wicked, you do still have some things that are benefit you. And I say this specifically on a local level. I got a friend around the corner, a Gentile, real good guy, man. We've been friends almost now. I think about 11 years now. It's 2018, so probably been friends about 10 or 11 years. And he's running for city council. But I'm in a small town, and I could actually reach out and touch him. I call him up. Matter of fact, I hit a few of his properties up, one of his properties up the road. I've been cutting for, past 8 years. And anytime I need some stuff done around the house, like he came over and built my porch, him and his son. He just came over and remodeled my bathroom. Him and he brought an Israelite over that was real good at doing that type of work. Came over and installed a new bathroom in my home. But the point of me saying that is because, first off, I he's somebody I would have voted and put him in power, and I knew he would have made things easier for me. You know, but even though he ain't in power in that position, he's still a good guy. You see, when I first got into landscaping, I didn't have no way to get my equipment around. He told me to grab one of the trailers out of his yard before I bought one. He told me to grab a trailer out of his yard, and that's how was able to start moving this stuff around. And that's how I was able to grow my business. But somebody like that just came out of blue and just helped me. Like Cornelius. Cornelius always gave his arm to the people, and this is how this guy is. I always got Israelites around, hanging around with him. Got a buku money. But I always just with Israelites, you know what I'm saying? So somebody like that, I would have voted him, into local election. I would have voted for him in a local election because I knew he would have got in there if the Lord would have saw fit, and he would have made some things easier for Israel. You see what I'm saying? Because he was already doing that before he even ran. That's just the type of person he was. But hey, whether they go good or go bad, God is behind it all, whether local or national. God is the one that's put the powers that be in these positions. So we're going to read that again. He said, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God. Whosoever therefore resist the power, resist the ordinance of God, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. A peace, Shaul. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right, man. And that's why I say like you can take that to really show, like I say with the being employed and stuff like that. You turn around and you pay somebody for working for you, you gonna give unto him what's righteous and equal. But we ain't talking about slaves be obedient, let them beat the hell out of you, and you just that ain't what that's referring to. I wouldn't suggest you, try to run from the whip anyway. If we was in that position, because I'm the type of person I can't take you hitting me, man. Mm-mm. But I just know that that's not what it was referring to. But let's go look at First Peter chapter 2. Let's check something else out. First Peter chapter 2. Peace, Sister Mary. How you doing today? First Peter chapter 2. And we're going to look at verse 13. First Peter 2 and verse 13. It says, submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether it be to the king as supreme. Okay, so that's the higher, because remember now, we were looking at, the powers that be are ordained of God. So like I say, from the pharaohs to the presidents to the kings and stuff like that, hey, it don't just stop right there. Those be like on your national levels, even your government, your governors. But bringing it down local, hey, God set them all up. So he said, or unto governors as unto them that are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers and for the praise of them that do well. Because just understand something, like Paul tell you over in Romans chapter 13, the powers that be are set up by God, and they're not really gonna hound you if you're doing right. You know what I'm saying? That's almost like that saying, you ain't under the law until you break the law. It ain't gonna have. Listen, the law, the law of the consequences of killing, it will not have an effect on you if you ain't killed nobody. You see what I'm saying? Like you ain't under that law. Once you kill somebody, then guess what? Whatever consequences, whatever the systems or governments have set up as far as the consequence pertaining to you killing somebody, it's gonna go into full effect. Now you under that law. But if you ain't doing that, if you ain't killing nobody, if you ain't breaking the law, you ain't doing nothing wrong, listen, ain't nobody gonna too much mess with you. You're gonna be all right. Except, sometimes we get racially profile and stuff like that. We know that happens. But outside of that, for the most part, hey, if you doing what you're supposed to, don't nobody bother you. And that's what he's saying right here. Just like he said in Rome, that's like just like Paul was saying in Romans 13. But he says, Peter say, submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake. So whatever ordinance, whether it's on a higher level, on a lower level, hey, these ordinances are set up. And now we ain't, like I say, goes without question. We don't have to talk about, ordinances that go against what God says. Automatically, we know we ain't doing that in the first place, right? All right, but hey, you probably can influence some of those ordinances. Like for instance, hey, if it was somebody I knew locally that was running for a particular position, I'd probably take part in it. But I don't got nobody, I don't got no homeboys in the seat. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know nobody. Like a friend of mine that I know from Jacksonville, uh, he knows somebody just ran that just won mayor of Atlanta. You know, but other than that, I don't know nobody. But I still want to vote because I don't know the person. I don't know the mayor. But just say my friend running for running for a seat or something. I vote for him because I know what he'll probably be able to do to make things better for me. You get what I'm saying? So that's where I would probably get involved. But other than that, personally, I just don't. But at the same time, that still doesn't give me a right to disrespect the order that's set up, and that's what we have to understand. Because, like I say, we come up and we get up in the word, and what we do is we go out into the streets and preaching out here in these streets and telling people, the system gonna fall, you it's wicked, and we praying for the fall of Babylon, which America is not Babylon in the first place. But we come out and say that type of stuff when God is telling you, listen, you need to pray for the peace of the land. Whatever you can do, and we're gonna see what I'm talking about as far as us praying for the peace of the land where we were led captive. We need to be looking forward to having some peace here. But whatever you can do to make some peace, if you gonna vote on some local stuff, national stuff, and that makes you feel good, then hey, so be it. It's not a sin. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing you have to understand. It's not a sin. Like I say, for me personally, I can see things happen on local levels, not on a national level. I just think they have them all set up, and I could be wrong though. I just never took part in it though. But you're not wrong if you do it though. So it says, submit yourselves every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether it be to the king as supreme, or to governors, as unto them that are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers and for the praise of them that do well. So you see how it works, right? If you do good, hey, they're gonna praise you for doing good. If you do bad, there's some consequence you're gonna have to pay, right? But submit yourself to every ordinance of a man. And that's what I said. My point of showing you that is that hey, these ordinances do be set up. They set up on all levels. If you think that you can influence these ordinances, then hey, man, then go for it. Ain't nothing wrong with it. You know, if you got I think it was a law in the books back in 2000. I can't remember what it's called. It was a law that was gonna get passed in California. It was man, dang what that law is. Something with eight. Proposition something. It was an eight. It had an eight in it. But it had something to do with homosexuality. And that was something that was being passed in I think California or San Francisco, something like that. But if I had somebody that was in the truth, that was on that panel or on that level running for a position, and I knew they could change it, oh, I'm voting for them. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I understand, hey, if they don't win, hey, regardless, God is still behind it though. But I still be like, I'm voting for them, man, because hey, I know I'm going for what God go for. Period. All right. But now let's go to First Timothy chapter 2. First Timothy chapter 2. It's gonna be quick and simple, hopefully. First Timothy chapter 2. We'll pick this up at verse 13. I'm sorry, verse 1. It says, I exhort, therefore, I think it's Proposition 808 or something like that. I can't remember. I exhort, therefore, that first of all, supplications, prayers, intercessions, and giving of thanks be made for all men, not some men, So I'm not gonna be sitting up here praying that something happened to our president. That's one thing that confused me, man. The same people, like if you listen to both sides of the aisle, right? You know, you got one side of the aisle being Gentiles and mainly Republicans that are in favor of all the things that President or Donald Trump is doing, right? And then you have on the other side of the aisle the Democrats, you know, that are in opposition to everything that Trump is doing, but then still he's supposed to represent us as a country. So you have the Democrats pushing to get him impeached. You know what I'm saying? Like they hate him so much that we want to get him impeached. We try to find everything against him. Mad because Hillary didn't win. But God didn't want it to be that way. He set Trump up. But I don't understand how is it that we supposed to be one country, which clearly we're not. We supposed to be one country, and if he fall or something happen to him, don't that affect all of us? You see what I'm saying? So why would you be looking for the downfall of this man when God, first off, is the one that set him up? And if something happened to him, hey, it's gonna come through the pipes and it's gonna get the slave. That's why I always say, listen, you go back there was an old saying that was said back in the slave days, and they would say, "Master, we sick." That means if Master was sick, guess what? All of us gonna be sick. If Master mad or Master, listen, you know who he coming for? He coming for the one at the bottom. He coming for the one at the bottom of the totem pole. So you don't sit up there and hope that Master is sick. And I say that because listen, regardless of how free we think we are, we still in captivity. You know what I'm saying? Like we still slaves. So if we sit up here and wish something bad happened to Trump, listen, don't you realize the effects of this stuff? This stuff we gonna get caught up, in all the stuff that's going on. We right in the middle of it. We right in the center of it. If they want to raise taxes, who's gonna hit the most? We are. If they want to start forcing vaccinations throughout the country, listen, that's gonna hurt. That we gonna be sitting up here fighting, and we ain't got no money to win this type of stuff when they send police in to take our children and stuff from us. So listen, I'm just gonna pray that the Lord keep these dudes cool and calm. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna sit up here and be trying to go out here and cuss them out and tell them I pray for the downfall of America because listen, I'm in America. That don't make sense. That don't make sense at all. I'm in this place. If America fall, you know what? I'm gonna fall with it. Duh. That's why I pray for the peace and ask for the Lord to come on back and get us out of this situation. But he said, I exhort, therefore, that first of all, supplications, prayers, intercessions, and giving of thanks be made for all men, for kings, and for all that are in authority, whether it be local, whether it be national. Hey, you need to be praying for them. And I ain't saying you praying that you praying or agreeing with any of their flawed system or they foul laws they putting in play. You know what I'm saying? But you still praying, like you praying and you hope, hey, hopefully God will change their mind. Because pay attention to what he say. He say for kings and for all that are in authority, that we may lead a quiet and peaceable life in all godliness and honesty. So listen, like I said, if they good, we good. I ain't trying to pray for nothing to happen to none of them. Leave me alone. If the lion is, listen, like I say, don't wake up the sleeping dragon. Just leave them alone. Lord, I pray for them. Lord, I ask that you, keep their temper so they don't push no, they don't, start fighting no unnecessary war and get us mixed up. Lord, I pray that you allow them to keep their temper so they don't wake up one morning and just want to raise the gas up. Because guess what? It's going to hurt me because I can barely afford what I got now. So I say for kings and for all that are in authority, even your local police, you praying for them. They in authority over you, whether you know it or not. That's why you can't go out there talking crazy to them. So you pray for them. Pray that Lord, hey, I pray I pray they keep their temper. I pray they, what I'm saying, don't come to work bothering me. Leave me alone, Lord. I pray that you let them ride right past. You know what I'm saying? He said, for kings and for all that in authority, that we may lead a quiet and peaceable life in all godliness and honesty. And then notice what he said in verse 3, for this is good and acceptable in the sight of God, our Savior. So it ain't nothing. I mean, he telling you to pray about him. So it ain't nothing wrong with you voting. He even telling you to pray for the kings and all that are in authority. So listen, ain't nothing wrong with you voting. Just understand when it's all said and done that God is going to set his kingdom up on this earth. Let's go look at first, well, Jeremiah chapter 29. We got one more after this. Jeremiah 29. And like I said, I just want to do this to kind of clear up any questions that may be in people's mind, especially the older generation, because you wake up and then you hear people like myself when I was a little young in the word, all the zeal I had. Listen, I'll tell you the piece if I find out you voting. But as you get older, you learn more and stuff like that. Like I said, um, it don't necessarily benefit us because we don't know how they have things set up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand the electoral college. I understand all that. I understand I understand voting in counties and stuff. I get that. Some people just don't understand how it works. But, even all the way behind the scenes before the presidents are even selected or selected or elected, before they even put in that position, I highly do believe that they already have their candidates and the people that they chosen to continue their agenda. And it's never really been about us. That's what we have to understand. It's never been really about us. But, as far as the black man is concerned, people on a small level like us, it's never really been about us. But at the same time, I can't tell you that's a sin if you want to take part in that. Okay, and that's one thing, I will not do anymore. I won't try to convict people and say you sinning for voting. What I can say is that, like I said, when you get to that higher level like that national level and stuff like that, hey, the concern really ain't for people. It really ain't. It really ain't. There's no concern really for the black man. That's why nothing has changed. You look at it, nothing ain't changed for us. Barack Obama got it. He ain't do nothing for us because it ain't really about us. It's the Gentiles and they keeping their agenda going. So, but look at what the Lord said in Jeremiah 29:4. Now, this is what the Lord told Jeremiah to tell Israel. We getting ready to go into captivity. All right. And as we go into this captivity, Lord gonna tell you to get comfortable. Because you're gonna go into captivity for a long time. So it'll be best that you get comfortable, right? But pay attention to what it said. This is when Nebuchadnezzar getting ready to take us out. Nebuchadnezzar being the beginning of the Gentile dynasty or the beginning of the white man's rule. And he's going to take us into Babylon. All right, we're going to take us into where he was at. So it said, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, unto all that are carried away captives, whom I have caused to be carried away. Hold on 1 second. Man, this is a big mosquito. Now, somehow I know this thing going to bite me. Oh my God, that's gonna hurt too. Man, that's crazy. I wish I had some mosquito spray. I can just spray on myself right quick, but it's all right, whatever. But he said, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, unto all that are carried away captives, whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem unto Babylon. Notice what he's gonna say now. This is the message that the Lord is sending by way of Jeremiah. The ones that I sent into Babylon. And essentially, hey, for the most part, what ended up happening, the Romans came and got us for good, or got us up out of Jerusalem for good some years later. But in verse 4, it says, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, unto all that are carried away captives, whom I caused to be carried away from Jerusalem unto Babylon, build ye houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens and eat the fruit of them. So listen, the Lord is telling you, when you go to Babylon, build you some houses. When you build them houses, better dwell in them, get comfortable, in other words. Plant you some gardens and eat the fruit thereof, the fruit of them. Then he says, take you wives and beget sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that you may be increased there and not diminished. Because listen, the nation, it starts off A nation is it comes out of the man. You know, the man is the one that carried the seed. So listen, when you get there, you better get you some wives. You know, you go among these Babylonians or under these Gentiles, go and get you some wives. And when you get your wives, go ahead and beget some sons and daughters. And once you get some sons and daughters, do that, right? Then he say, and take wives for your sons and give your daughters to husbands that they may bear sons and daughters. So you gonna listen, you gonna get in there, take you some wives, raise up some sons and daughters, let them marry one another, you know, and then they gonna get some more sons and daughters. Why? Because he said that she may be increased there and not diminished. You see, but listen, the nation comes, it starts through the man. You see? So it didn't matter if you was marrying a white woman, an Asian woman, you know, China, it don't matter. Because the man is the one that carried the seed. The nation flows through the man. The woman, she's just like the soil. You know what I'm saying? You just plant a seed inside of her. But whatever the seed is, that's what the woman gonna be. You understand? And the Lord clearly knew that. This is why he telling them, listen, when you get to Babylon, you better get you some wives so y'all don't diminish as a nation. But in addition to that, he said, what? And seek the peace of the city where they have caused you to be carried away captive. So I ain't praying for the downfall of America. I ain't praying for the downfall of none of this. What I'm praying for is, Lord, hey, I ask you to keep me and my family, keep my brothers and sisters in the word, and keep us protected until you get back. And I ask you to keep your angels and shield of protection around us, Lord. Lead us not into temptation. I pray that every day when I leave my house. Lead us not into temptation, you know. And I'm praying for the peace. Because listen, if there's peace, you know what's gonna happen to you? You're gonna have peace. If there's peace in the land, you're gonna have some peace. But guess what? Soon as everything hit the fan, it's gonna everything gonna hit the fan in your house too. You know. So he's saying, seek the peace of the city where I've caused you to be carried away captives. You know, so if you want to pray about it, if you want to go take part in your local elections and stuff like that, hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. But overall, in general, the point is you need to be seeking some peace of the land. Don't be sitting up here, you know, you don't need to vote, you know, it ain't helping us and stuff like that. Listen, like I said, it may not do nothing on the national level. I don't know about that. I can't reach out that far. I can reach out locally though. I can touch some of my local. I can go talk to my sheriff right up the street. You know what I'm saying? You know, in my town, it's like Dewey just running around, ain't got nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? They be happy you call. You call somebody police, they're gonna be in like 2 seconds because they ain't got nothing to do. It's a little town. I mean, you're right outside of Atlanta. You know, I'm 20 miles away from Atlanta, but I'm just saying, you know, we're in the outskirts. You know, and they broke all these cities up. You know, so locally, I can go up there. I can go talk to my mayor. She's a woman. A matter of fact, the first black woman. You know, a few years ago, 8 years ago, we had the first black man selected in Fairburn as the mayor. His name was Mario Avery. First black man that was selected. We go to the basketball court. He'd be out there playing with us. Little short guy, a member of World Changes, member of Creflo, Dollar Church, but he'd be out there playing ball with us. You know, matter of fact, one of my customers that I'm going to cut tomorrow, the old Miss stay right across the street, like cat a corner from her. You know, but locally, I can see that. I can see, you know, I can see how your vote would actually matter. You know, I can't really see what happens on a national level. You understand? Cause it's just too much involved. But yet, it's still not a sin though. Let's see here. But he said, seek the peace of the city where I've caused you to be carried away captives, and pray unto the Lord for it. For in the peace thereof shall ye have peace. So listen, when you go out, you're gonna have some peace. If you go in that captivity, you pray for that peace, and if they have peace, you're gonna have peace. If they ain't got peace, you ain't gonna have peace. And God clearly understood that. All right, but now let's go look at one more place. Because, like I said, when it's all said and done, you know, this government, it's not gonna be around forever. You know, so hey, just have that mindset regardless of what I do, whether I do or not. Hey, it's at some point, you know, this world will come to an end. And in the meantime, if you want to make things better for you, you can do that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Don't let nobody tell you that. Like I say, some people just get up on the wrong side of the bed and they just cut off the life of Israelites. Whether you be spiritual Israel, physical Israel, they just cut off the life. You can't do nothing. You can't vote. You know what I'm saying? You can't go see your mom and them. You can't talk to them no more. You know what I'm saying? Like you just have to be miserable being an Israelite. You gotta always walk around mad. You gotta cuss the white man out. You can't have no white friends, none of that. I mean that don't make no sense. Just think about it. And what's the purpose of you having the light? You know what I'm saying? What's the purpose of you having the knowledge if you're gonna cut everybody off? So I just want to make sure that you understand that you don't gotta feel bad because I know this stuff is coming up. Got like 2 months around November, and it's gonna be coming up. But listen, if it falls on the Sabbath, like for instance, I think last year around Feast of Tabernacles, was it last year, 2016? What is it, 18 now? Yeah, I think it was 2016. Um, 16 or 17. It was some local voting going on, a state voting going on. We had a feast, and one of the sisters came to church with I voted today sticker on. And I put it to the side, and I know she might have didn't like it, but I just had to because I'm trying to save your soul. I'm trying to keep you from hitting the lake of fire. And I told her, I said, oh, so you voted? I said, so you voted today? She said, oh yeah, I did. This is the only day for me to vote. I said, okay. I said, well, just keep in mind though, today is a Sabbath, and this day is set aside for God. So you ain't supposed to be taking part in that stuff. So, and that's what you have to understand. Sometimes tabernacles fall around this time, around the election season, and you may have the first day of tabernacles and the eighth day of tabernacles. It may fall on a Tuesday, and sometimes around that time they be voting and stuff. Well, if that's the case, you can't take part in that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's still a Sabbath day. And for on that day everything's supposed to be set aside for God, And I don't know. It didn't seem like it smoothed over too good, like in the first 10 minutes. But after a while, sister, she understood, But I had to say something because, you still don't want to be doing on the Lord's Sabbath, you know. And I ain't talking about Saturday. I'm talking about on Tuesday if like I say, the first day of Tabernacles or the eighth day of Tabernacles fall on a Tuesday, a day that they voting, hey, just gonna stay away from it because it is a Sabbath day for the Lord. So, but like I say, this government will end, and this one reason why I personally don't take part in the voting process because not only do you have a lot of things that are not set up in our favor. And I understand that. If we would have never disobeyed God, we wouldn't be in this predicament in the first place. I get that. I'm cool with that. Um, but on top of that, I know that my king is Jesus. You know what I'm saying? My king is Jesus. When it's all said and done, this gonna be the real king right here. So it's like, okay, I can go vote, but it's all gonna end. You know what I'm saying? So ain't no sense me doing that. Then also having in my mind that hey, the powers that be are set up by God. You know, so so back to what I was saying earlier. Locally, your vote may sway a decision one way or the other. It may. Um, I can comprehend that better than I can nationally because it's just too much involved. A lot of money is involved. I mean, you just think about like the national politicians, all the money they have to raise. They got to raise millions of dollars. So I mean, and have all these sponsors. So is that what is going to determine the vote, the money? How it's being, things, all the backing and stuff like that, or does my vote really count? You know what I'm saying? So I think about that type of stuff as opposed to on the local level. Hey, like I said, I'm more comfortable because I can see things. It's nothing for me seriously to go see my police officer or my my sheriff. Something that the city done put in that seat. You know, with the like I told you earlier about the mayor. You know, he did some things over here in Fairburn. You know, we actually saw some progress that happened, but you had people around here locally put him in that position. So, you know, in that particular case right there, it worked out good. Some of them may not be that way, but regardless of it all, God is in power. Period. Whether it work out good or bad, God is behind it all. But at some point, it's gonna end, and let's see who's gonna really be in power when it's all said and done. It says in Isaiah 9:6, "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given." Talking about unto Israel. But it's going, hey, listen, once the son come, hey, it's going to be for Israel. But by Israel getting the Savior, guess what? That's going to open the door for everybody else to receive salvation. Unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. So we're looking at way in Isaiah, the Old Testament, telling us about the government being upon a son's shoulder. What son are we talking about? We talking about Jesus. That's why when he came in the flesh, they was looking for him to go and set up his kingdom. But at one time, though. It wasn't time for him to set his kingdom up. That's why when they asked him, Acts chapter 1, are you going to set the kingdom up? And he told them, listen, that ain't for you to know. You know, but at that time, it wasn't time for him to set his kingdom up. But they knew after a while, they realized who he was. But no, it wasn't that time. But essentially, when it's all said and done, hey, Jesus going to set a kingdom up on this earth. So he said, for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. So when it's all said and done, hey, it's gonna be upon his shoulder. He gonna have different people in different positions. That's what I'm trying. I'm trying to own, run about 20 cities. You know what I'm saying? Like he gave that example, that brother being faithful over 5 cities, he gave him 10. 5 talents he gave, I think it was 5 talents, then he made him rule over 10 cities. You got another brother being faithful with 2 talents. The Lord gave him rulership over 4 cities. And then you had one that had that 1 talent. He took that 1 talent, put it in the ground. The Lord say, take that 1 talent that you had, give it to the 10, and because you knew I was an austere man. When I got back, you should have had some usury off of that talent. And he ended up throwing that man to Lake of Fire or casting him away. So I'm trying to do some things now so I can be a part of this government, which is, you ain't got to vote for this. Like your vote ain't going to hurt you now. You know what I'm saying? It's okay, but listen, it ain't going to be forever. This system eventually going to fall, though. Just always have that in mind. But the real system that's coming, see, people like to talk about the New World Order and stuff like that. I hear so many people be scared about the New World Order. Listen, there ain't going to be no New World Order. Not with man. There is a New World Order coming, though. And the one that's going to run it is Jesus, because he's going to bring a whole new order to this world. Yes, he is. So he say, for unto us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. So running this world going to be all on him. And he going to set it up how he want to set it up. It ain't going to be like it is now. You ain't going to be sitting up here, people twisting laws for homosexuality. That ain't going to happen. You ain't going to be sitting up here trying to twist laws for abortions to take place. You're not going to be sitting up here twisting laws for, 10, 20 to life. Pull a gun 10 years, fire a gun 20 years, shoot somebody life. You ain't got to worry about that. That's started in Florida. You ain't gonna have a 3 strikes law that was set up by Clinton. Because all that stuff was to go against Israel. Like I say, some people catch their own people in the drag net. But not many. Not many of the Gentiles got caught in the drag net. But some of them get caught in the drag net to get who it is they want. But listen, you ain't gonna see these type of laws being framed when Jesus get back. The real government, the righteous government, gonna be set up upon this son's shoulder, which we are talking about is Jesus. He said, and upon his shoulder, then it said, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Still talking about Jesus. Remember now, Jesus is the King of Peace. He gonna rule from Jerusalem. Jerusalem, it just means city of peace. And that's where the Lord Jesus is going to set his throne of. That's why I tell you, pray thy kingdom come, that will be done in earth as it is in heaven. But you praying what? That kingdom come, because he gonna bring his kingdom to this earth. His government from it's gonna rule. He gonna rule on this earth. He said, of the increase of his government and peace, there shall be no end. So listen, once Jesus started ruling this world, sisters and brothers, you ain't got to worry about the voting system no more. You ain't got to never worry about, listen, us going back to the way man has it set up now. But like I said, in the meantime, it's not a sin if you want to take part in some voting and stuff like that. Hey, listen, First John 3 and 4 let you know whosoever committeth sin transgress the law. For sin is the transgression of the law. That's what sin is. So you ain't gonna be able to find a law that tell you can't vote. But don't be sitting up here voting for things, that's against God though. Stay away from that. Of the increase of his government and peace, there should be no end. So once he come into power, that's it. We ain't got to worry. There ain't gonna be none of this other stuff going on. And he said, upon the throne of David. So the throne of David, where David ruled from, is Jerusalem, sisters and brothers. And this is where Jesus gonna rule from. He said to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even forever. So listen, it ain't like I say, hey, when Jesus come back and set his kingdom up on this earth, it ain't gonna be like it is now. We don't. You ain't got to vote Jesus in. He already in. He just waiting on the right hand of the Father for his enemies to become his footstool. But pay attention to how he's going to establish this kingdom. He said, upon his kingdom to order it and to establish it with judgment. We're going to have some righteous judgment going on. And with justice. It ain't going to be one side. Like I put out I saw some on Facebook earlier this week or last week, if I'm mistaken, where it says that the Constitution is not for the black man. That's not playing fair across the board. You know what I'm saying? All men created equal. Listen, that had nothing to do with us. I'm just pointing it out, how it is now, as opposed to how it's going to be when Jesus gets back. We don't have to worry about this wickedness and all this, how things are being run now. He said, to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even forever, the zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. So I just wanted to, just run that by you. Hey, peace, brother Stevens. How you doing, man? So I just wanted to, brother now, I just wanted to run that by you, just to let you know that, it's nothing wrong with you voting. If you want to take part in that, that's fine. You ain't go to hell for it. Just don't be sitting up here supporting all these gay laws, supporting laws where it's going to hurt Israel, where it's going to take from the poor, you know what I'm saying, where increasing taxes to hurt people. I mean, if you want to increase taxes, you want to vote, it's still no sin. But I'm just saying, just think about what would Jesus do. It ain't like Jesus wasn't aware of a system. Remember, we saw he's the one that set it all up. And like I said, personally for myself, I see things. I see more of it. I see more of more effect. I see your vote having more of an effect on local levels. But so that's it. I know the elections are coming up within a month or two, and I just wanted to run that by you. So other than that, I'd like to say peace in Jesus' name, and see you all, Lord willing, in the next few days.